DaBaby's been in the news a lot.
Has he?
You don't say.
Wah, wah.
Yeah, so
Different baby. Yeah.
That's Lil Baby.
Red
That's
August,
Lil
get your
Baby.
Red August, get your people, man. I know I said it a lot, but get your people.
My bad. I don't.
He-
I didn't know there was.
Red August, get your people, man. That's all I'm gonna say.
Wah, like the baby is Lil Baby.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of baby. Like you heard what T-Pain said. Now
Be more creative.
Lil Baby actually tight though.
I like Lil Baby.
On to the baby though.
I like Lil Baby. All right, so DaBaby has been in the news for some crazy comments that he said at his show. Right? We talked about it post show last week.
Right.
But
But then it just got worse.
He's doubled, tripled down, and he just recently had I'm not gonna say his team wrote up a very eloquent apology that was put out, right? So he's apologizing because I counted 3 festivals. There's a Days in Vegas festival that he was dropped from, Lollapalooza, and then the Governor's Ball Music Festival. Took a L on all 3 since his comments. And this is as he was doubling down and just being like, I said what I said. Now they've written everything.
I
and
said it already.
I said it already. And now they've written the apology and everything, so we'll see how that goes from there. But here's my question. As it relates to these hip hop artists, right? And the concept of the idea of cancel culture. With DaBaby and him losing out on, my count is 3. There may have been more, there may have been endorsements, I'm not sure. What do y'all think about that? Like based off his comments, him immediately being pulled from festivals and possibly having, partnerships and merch and I don't know, clothing lines or whatever being compromised based off things that he said at a show, at a performance. Like his cancel culture as it relates to the artists, the hip hop artists in particular, is it starting to get out of hand? Do you guys feel like that is justified? Where are we at with that? Lone, I'll come to you first. Like with him.
It's a learning experience.
Okay. All right.
You do dumb things gonna happen. It's like stupid is as stupid does. Like, better. At the end of the day.
No, he doesn't.
Nah, I don't think he knew any
Let me
better at the
rephrase
time.
that.
Okay.
Yeah.
You should know better.
You should know better.
And you should have people around you that should be able to advise you to not do dumb things like that. If you're in the eyes of the public, there's certain things you just don't say regardless of however you feel about them. Otherwise, you're going to get docked.
Mm-hmm.
And so
Docking your pay.
I don't know if he's necessarily going to lose money from these festivals because I don't know what his contract looks like.
Nor do I.
He probably already got the deposits.
He probably already got the deposit of everything. So
non-refundable.
But
Yep.
it does affect him in the future, right?
Yeah.
And it does affect brand deals in the future and, how everything moves. So that's where I'm at on it. I feel like he should have known better, as an artist.
It depends, I think.
What you think?
I mean, cancel culture is the end thing to do nowadays, for one.
I agree.
We've seen so many artists get canceled. Kanye got canceled for telling a handicapped man to stand up that was in a wheelchair. He didn't know he was in a wheelchair. So he got canceled for a little while.
Well, he's got canceled for 19 other things,
Yeah,
too.
that was just one example.
I see what
So-
you did
Chris
there.
Brown has been canceled how many times?
He been
Yeah,
canceled.
his concert is still going to sell out. This thing with DaBaby is just so interesting because ignorance isn't always bliss, and to me, it just sounded like a rant. He didn't know what to say, so he just said anything, and that rant landed him in hot water. But a lot of these festivals are fake anyway because the only reason they're taking him off the lineup is because they're worried about what somebody else has to say.
That's what I was looking for. That's what I was looking for.
I see a lot of comments as far as people saying, well, people can rap about killing people and doing this, doing that, and the third. And then as soon as you say this, then that's when we want to cancel you.
Is there truth to that?
Honestly, it's living proof it is.
Okay. All right.
It's okay for you to get up here and entertain us about killing people and stuff like that. But if you say these specific words in this specific order, then we're canceling you.
Yeah.
And I do find a fault with that because if we're going to hold somebody accountable for that, we need to hold somebody accountable for the other as well. And with hip hop being the most prominent and most popular music source nowadays, and for the casual listener to just be able to listen to it and move on about their lives and later just say, well, you know, that was just a thing I was doing. There's a lot of people whose lives are not just hip hop, but these stories that people are telling in hip hop are their lives, essentially. So it's not your entertainment for you to be like, I was appeased for a while I was in college and now I moved on for that. Y'all are just as guilty. You feel me?
But what about this, Terry? What about like where's the line between saying something that is derogatory and hateful or somebody sharing their life? Like if you're sharing something that's going on in your life and it involves like violence and killing and stuff, that's one thing, right? But where's the line to where somebody says something that is like derogatory and hateful and kind of intentional versus you see the balance there? Like one's like telling a story and the other one is like just like
I think it's a slippery slope because you have certain people that absolutely aren't part of that life. They're just making up these stories. So it's almost like exploitation. I'm going to exploit this type of lifestyle, but if you mention this type of lifestyle, then it's a problem. Yeah. There's a problem on both ends of the spectrum. It's kind of like when we talk about the 12 deadly sins. All those sins have the exact same equation.
There's 7 of them, aren't there?
Well, 7.
Yeah.
They probably upped it to 12 now.
Probably. There's so many.
I was just trying to make sure I'm talking about the same thing.
I'm thinking I'm crossing 2 different things.
Yeah. I know what you're doing.
Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. Red August giggle.
But with the sins, you know, that they try to put one sin over the other. When in all actuality, they're all linear.
Right.
So, and this is one of those same type situations, in my personal opinion, where that's linear. But I can see how people can say that it's not, but in the same time, I can see how it's the same thing.
I guess I don't fully understand that.
But what you said though, okay, there is gray area there. I don't know, because take perception into account too. It's like how people view one versus the other. Like maybe everybody doesn't view the quote unquote I'm telling my life stories like that.
Or I'll put it to you like this. The reason why I brought that up is because these festivals are making money off these artists. Yeah. So you're making money off me coming here rapping about this stuff. Right. But when I talk about this, just because somebody said something and it grew a following and now cancel culture came into play, now you're terminating my agreement. To me, that's fake.
No, very much so.
I got a question for you, and then I don't want to. Go right back to what you're saying, but I have a question for you as it relates to this. How do you feel about how should the apology be received? Should that be looked at once the apology comes out after I've messed up? Should that be taken sincerely and then we move forward? Because I feel like when the apology comes out, it's like the apology is never good enough. It's like I need you to really like cry or do a video about it, or like it's never, the surface apology to me is never sufficient based off how this goes. Like, do you?
No, that's the thing. They don't want an apology. They want you gone. Okay. Because the thing is, like, that's why some people are like, why are you out here apologizing? Like, remember the whole thing with Kevin Hart? They brought up some tweets he had from 10 years ago, right? And he said, I'm not going to apologize. I already addressed this, and he decided to apologize anyway. And it's not like they let him host the Oscars. Now, mind you, he bounced back from that. Kevin Hart is fine. You know, I see him on the Olympic coverage with Snoop. It is what it is. But a lot of times, these people, you know, my thing is, do you want the baby to be better? Or do you want him gone? Because I just think a lot of people are so invested in getting people out of here. They don't care if they get better or they learn anything or not. Now, also, this is kind of wild for me, because when I first heard it, I didn't see what the problem was. Partially because I've been around hip hop for so long that when I hear what he said about the, you know, if you don't have, you know, so and so. In a concert atmosphere. When I hear that,
I was in the same boat. I remember I kept asking. I
hear. If you glad to be alive and you all right. And then even when he said the thing about what he said about a certain sort of behavior, right? I heard, and if you're not compromising yourself in a certain way, you go ahead and put your hands in it. Because like I've been like, first of all, we talked about it pre-show last week. when you start listening to lyrics of hip hop,
oh yeah,
you know, if you were to break it down in its most literal form,
yeah,
it's either very homophobic or embracing the homosexual lifestyle. And the example I gave was DMX's Party Up. If you listen to the first verse of that song,
yeah,
and I'll let everyone who's listening do their own research because I can't go into it, you know, because we got a radio situation that we have to maintain.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
You know, like I said, either that is extremely homophobic or it's embracing of the homosexual lifestyle.
Right.
You know, and so when I heard it, now what messed it up.
We know what it is, though.
Yeah. Is because I don't think, you know, and this is also a thing, because I've had experience myself with this, where sometimes it's not about your intention. Mm-hmm. It's about people's perception.
There it is.
Because one time I said something on the microphone, you know, because that's how I get money out here.
Jay Moore after 12.
Exactly. And it was after I was
love
like,
Jay Moore after 12.
And I was like, hey, all you do standing around dancing with your homeboys when the slow songs come on, you doing it wrong.
Yeah.
And it was some, you know, one of
So
our,
if he had said that at Lollapalooza, that could have been taken a certain way.
Exactly.
100%.
And like, you know,
I think it's different.
But at the same time, when I said it, somebody from, you know, the queer community, and like I've gotten that cleared. I thought saying queer was something wrong.
As did I.
And
I
so
didn't know that.
you know when you know, because look, I ain't gonna lie. I have a friend, a colleague who is, you know, transgender, and I said, look, I hate to ask your transgender friend, but I got some questions and I need it cleared up.
100%.
You know what I'm saying? Because if I'm out here saying things that are wrong,
you want to know,
or doing things that are wrong,
you want to know.
I want to know.
100%.
You know, because I don't understand, and I'll be honest, I still think some of this is funny.
But there's nothing wrong. There's nothing wrong with that, though. To me, like wanting clarity to understand.
And
like,
so
I don't.
But and so like when I had the conversation, I had to say, well, what is this, and what's going on here? Because I didn't want anyone to. First of all, I was more interested in being better, and the person who I was talking to wasn't just interested in me getting out of here.
Yeah,
you know.
Yeah,
and so I think that's a lot of this. Like we're just. And then here comes like, you know, the queen of the white gays we don't Madonna. Well, you don't care really. Nobody's thought about you for a while. Like this is not your fight to take on.
She needs somebody else to kiss.
And she came about the blue though.
Yeah.
She came out of nowhere.
And so
with the baby thing?
I had, and see what really made this is what, because we probably would have moved on if DaBaby didn't try to clean it up in his own way without talking to his team. Because he said, "Oh no, I'm not talking about the classy gays who are my fans." And I'm like, "Fam,
the cleanup effort was not it. That wasn't it."
Once again,
he needs a better PR team.
You're
100%.
First of all, you were involved.
He was trying to be his own PR team.
Yeah, you were involving yourself in queer business that you don't understand, and you're making it worse.
100%.
You know, because I always say sometimes the best PR for you to do is to shut up.
Don't smear the poop in the stall.
Like this is taking it a whole nother
really,
place. But remember when it was a whole bunch of stories about Usher and what was going on with him, and he didn't say nothing, and it just went away, and now he's got a Vegas residency.
And he kept on performing Let It Burn.
Y'all said he was at the concert and it never came up.
He kept on performing Let It Burn.
There is, you know, you always have the option to say nothing.
So here's my question. Was he wrong?
Was who wrong? DaBaby?
I'll be honest. What he initially said. Once again, it's not a.
Let me rephrase.
No, I don't think he was wrong.
Let me reframe.
His cleanup made it so much worse.
It could have been.
Let me reframe this question.
I'm with that.
Let me reframe it. Knowing that we are old heads here, and knowing that,
new old head.
Yeah, we still new,
right? But understand the old way of hip hop thinking that you brought up, even about DMX and what we're just accustomed to accept.
Yes.
Yeah, and what we're accustomed to accept.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. How much does that go into not being offended or upset at what DaBaby does? Because
it goes.
Of that.
You talking about based off
that.
Us being a certain.
Yeah.
No, based upon what he said. And okay.
I understand what you're saying.
Yeah. So like if we have a little bit of bias because we're used to this, because we listen to hip hop and we're used to this in hip hop. Hip hop is very misogynistic. It's very anti-gay. Period.
Yeah. Violence also.
Right. Well, all that stuff. Right. Yeah. But how much of our bias goes into that of us not being
offended,
bothered by what DaBaby says in general?
Go ahead.
As opposed to us, you know, like what he, you know, like really addressing, like, okay, maybe what he said was wrong, and maybe we should potentially not do that stuff in the future.
Go ahead, Terry.
I can see that our sensitivity filter probably isn't as heightened as others are. But I also see how that could have been spun in a positive way to promote safe sex too.
Really though?
Kinda.
You know what? It once again not about your intention, but your perception. Someone could have seen it as that.
Perception is everything.
But this is the thing, and I'll really play
devil's advocate,
white devil's advocate here.
Oh, is that different from devil's advocate?
Yeah, as far not really. In
Which
my
one's
eyes.
worse?
Look, don't get me started.
Okay, I'll leave it alone.
Shout out to our sponsors.
Yes.
No,
there's so much hate in the room.
No, because the thing
is,
is, and this could be in a way. This is another way you could look at it. DaBaby has expressed a level of ignorance across the board.
Okay.
To so many people.
Yeah.
Why are we surprised or upset when it all of a sudden hits, our community, our friends in the LGBTQIA? I'm sorry if I missed a letter. Plus. Plus. Because this is the thing for those of you in that community. I always thought the what we wanted to do is make sure that you're treated equally.
Yes.
Not treated special. See, the thing is, if we take DaBaby out because he said something ignorant about you when he says something ignorant about everybody, we're not treating you equally. We're treating you special.
That's tough.
And see, the thing is, there'll be real pushback against that may not be in the actual, when everyone's fighting to become equal and have the rights that they are supposed to have just by being born and being human and being American. I think that's where some of the pushback comes from.
Okay.
Like we want everybody to be equal, but all of a sudden, if you're DaBaby, you got to treat these people special.
That's fair.
That once again, I'm playing white devil's advocate.
Yeah, you're. I mean,
no, you on it though. That's fair.
I see what you're saying. I mean, it's.
That's fair.
We've heard all these things he had to say about women. He's literally and you're associated with Tory. Yeah, with his associate with Tory Lanez and him bringing him out. Like basically, this dude shot a girl in the foot. And we didn't, allegedly, sprinkle allegedly.
Yeah, air quotes that.
But that's not getting him kicked off. Right. The wild stuff he said about, remember DaBaby is a murderer.
Yeah, Baby done killed some people.
He rhymes about that, and we didn't take him off of anything. He's being able to say sort of ignorant stuff about, disrespecting women and killing people that look like the people here.
He can literally rhyme in his rhyme. I'll really do that.
Yeah.
Because he did it.
Then and maybe the problem was there was no beat under what he said. Had he said these same things and there was a beat playing, maybe he'd have been okay. But
the fact that there wasn't a beat,
that might have been what got him into trouble.
It opens it up. It opened it up, man. Like it opened it all the way up to be dissected. Because
did they even flash on the crowd to see what the reaction was from the people in the crowd?
You can hear the audio though.
Look, I'll tell you what.
I heard the audio, but I'm saying I want to see what the reaction of the people in the crowd was.
Okay.
Remember, I'll tell you right now. Remember, I'm in the club all weekend long. DaBaby's music still played.
Yeah.
Like this is something that outside forces, like I said, Madonna doesn't dictate what happens.
They ain't playing
in
Madonna in the club
at all.
So the culture, like I'm just keep it real. The culture still rocks with DaBaby. It's all these people in these ivory towers who have decided they don't want to be like. Because the thing is, if you keep him on, then someone can say that you're anti-gay, and you don't want the stink of being anti-gay on your
and
festival.
All of that trickles down.
But you know what? The people who you've replaced him with might still have some of that stuff in their music, but it's in their music.
Yeah, it's just in the music.
That is a distinct difference too.
Yeah,
saying it out loud. I mean, you made a good point. Saying it out loud in a setting that isn't a musical creative way. Yep. It is interpreted in a different way. If DaBaby's just out here talking about doing expletive things left and right, then I think, but you made good points.
I think everybody made good points on this.
I don't think that was a white devil's advocate though. I think that was more.
I just wanted to say white devil's advocate.
That sounded dope though. It sounded dope. I ain't gonna lie. It sounded dope.
I mean,
Red August giggle. Yeah, it sounded good.
I feel like I held down the role of white devil's advocate pretty well.
Yeah, you did all right.
You gotta start counting Red August giggles. When he giggle, he usually goes. It's good. Let's let's shout out the partners real quick. And then we'll get into
while we have them.
Yeah, well, and then we'll get into
love y'all.
Yeah, we do, and we'll get into the.
If you've enjoyed this segment of the New Old Heads podcast, make sure you join our live show every Tuesday from 9 to 11 p.m. Eastern on twitch.tv/newoldheads. You can also catch playback of all of our shows on any podcast app and youtube.com/newoldheadsnetwork. And go to newoldheads.com/community to join our Discord.